Hello and welcome to another Warhammer fantasy game. This is a 2,400 point game, Wood Elves versus Vampire Counts. Sort of playing out the one of each army that was in the 2 versus 2 game that I recently reported. Um, so looking here, this is my Wood Elves. We're playing from my right we have 2 Great Eagles, 3 Warhawk Riders, unit of 12 Dryads. On the other side of the forest, I have 10 Glade Guard. I've put a Wood Elf Noble in there. On the back side of that, I have some more Dryads, a branch Wraith in the very background, big unit of 20 Glade Guard with Standard Bearer and my Sorceress Lord, and on the far side some Wild Riders. Here's a close-up of my Dryads. Looking pretty neat in their forest. This is the forest I got to place. And you can see the arm of my branch wraith, and I actually have a unit of war dancers. I really like my war dancer unit, so I thought I'd play with them just for fun. We have a lot of terrain. We tried to do our best using the terrain, but kind of got a little bit bogged down on the rules and didn't get to play with too much focus on the terrain, and with skirmishers and ethereal units, etc. We kind of forgot. So here's my opponent's list, army. I mean, we have 6 Cairn Wraiths, his general, who's a representation here, and then a massive unit of Black Knights, and then a big unit of zombies and a big unit of Crypt Ghouls. Sorry, Crypt Ghouls and then skeletons. So here's his general. It's a really pretty model. It's going to look really fantastic when he paints it, but it's a vampire lord on some gigantic thing. I forget what it's called, and it was pretty brutal, pretty harsh against my little wood elves. Anyhow, he wins. Clearly, he has a lot less units and gets to have the +1 to his roll. I make a vanguard move. I put my wild riders up there in the top there on my left flank and bring out my my wild riders. My goal here is that my Wild Riders there will be able to flank his skeletons first round if he moves them up. And here's a close-up of them. And my Warhawk Riders can just get out there and mix some stuff up. I did forget to mention I also have 6 Tree Kin. So they're over here next to these Wild Riders. So the Vampire Counts get first move. He just basically moves everyone up forward, brings the Cairn Wraiths up. I just thought they looked kind of neat here. They're going to look really neat when painted too, but the light was really great, and they're all Banshee-like and stuff. He's using these Chaos Knights to represent his Black Knights, and he moved them up as far as he could, basically trying to get them into contact right away. It's kind of a bit of a Death Star unit, and that was my biggest concern. With their high armor save, I had a really tough time taking them out before they got here. He had a whole bunch of characters. He's got a necromancer here in the right corner. He's got a vampire, which is I think this one's a 2nd level caster. In the unit of skeletons to the left, my left, he has a fighting vampire, which is pretty tough to handle. And these are pretty big units. I think he's got 42 skeletons and 60 Crypt Ghouls or something like that. He can buff them higher, etc., etc. Anyhow, so he's moved all of his guys up forward. It's now my turn, and I bring my Eagles up and my my Warhawk Riders up, just to kind of get them in behind everything, make him think about stuff, try to see what I can do to kind of confuse and hold up these units a little bit. I did keep one eagle back so I could flank charge, do whatever. And then I sort of repositioned everything, brought my dryads back so he wouldn't be able to charge right away. He had sort of fainted, sent his general out charging my Warhawk Riders. They backed off and then got to free reform and move in my first turn. I'm moving my War Dancers up, and I'm just trying to shoot at him with everything I've got. So here you can see I've moved my Treekin up into the forest. My Wild Riders have moved up a little bit, ready to double flank charge. I could have perhaps been a little bit more aggressive with this, but needed to kind of pin myself in. keeping that avenue to shoot open. Shot as much as I could, did what I could, and it's pretty hard. I tend to waste my Hail of Doom arrows. I really like to shoot it in the first round because sometimes I'm always afraid I'm not going to get to use it. Anyhow, we get to magic. I got my spell weaver, and I try to cast some spells, and what do you know? I don't even reach my casting cost because I roll 4 ones. Quite brutal. Shooting, I do a little bit of damage on the skeletons, take out 7 of them. Not a big deal, but I'm just trying to keep them from getting too big. Make him have to waste his spells to beef them back up. That's kind of my way of thinking, and especially until we get closer, I can't do a whole lot of damage. So this is beginning of turn 2. He moves forward into this forest. This ethereal turns out to be whatever it is. He doesn't really care. Doesn't affect these guys at all. And then he brings everyone else up even closer. And so I'm trying to get close enough so I can make the first charge. I won't get bogged down. I figure if I can get the right number of units in, I can just by sheer numbers attack. He won't be able to hurt me back and beat his combat resolution. He's got his knights here on the other side of this forest. When they move their ethereals, they don't take dangerous terrain checks going through the forest, which I read after he got set up. And basically, he's got this set up, and he spent all of his dice this magic phase casting to get those knights into combat with my Glade Guard there. And now I'm thinking, actually I didn't even think to really stop it. Wasn't expecting that to come, but I was able to, I wanted the Wick Elm, kept throwing dice, dispelled everything into the last one. He rolled like a 7, I had 2 dice or 3 dice rerollable, and level 4, and couldn't dispel it. So, what do you know, he gets into combat with me. Pain in the neck. My poor little, my poor little Glade Guard. They're trying really hard to stay alive. And because it all goes by initiative, I get to attack, and I kill one of them. Kind of ironic. Here's an overview of the whole battlefield now. You can see that, except for there, except that one spot, I feel like I'm looking pretty good. I've got my big units coming in on my left flank, ready to flank charge and take him out. I've got everything else pretty well supporting and backing up. I really just made a mistake of keeping my Glade Guard out there, letting them be attacked. Should have shrunk them down into two ranks, maybe done some stuff, made them farther away. They still get to volley fire, so it's silly for me to even put them in one long rank of 10. Learning. Anyhow, so here you go. I get to attack first. I kill one of his knights. He fluffs his attacks back. Don't kill anybody, but with standard combat resolution, he just destroys me, overruns, takes out my noble, which is just silly. I should have taken him out of the list. He was just there to pop off individual models, and he charges into my dryads in the flank. So that's that. Here's my noble. He had the Hunter's Talon and the Passion of Shrikes. The idea was that I'd be able to focus fire individual models, and I was really close to taking out his Necromancer. I did 1 wound, and he saved the other wound. Pretty frustrating, but because I was silly, I only got that one try. Now this is the middle of round 2. We don't fight that fight between my dryads and his knights right away because it was an overrun charge. I get what are they called? Lurker, Shadows of the Lurker, whatever, the last spell of the Lore of Life off on his ghouls here, and I absolutely decimate them. With a little bit of shooting afterwards, I take out something like 31 models or something, which felt really good, I must say. It felt really, really good. I finally take out his Necromancer here, or one of his 2 models. I'm not certain which one. He fails his strength check. And I'm able to charge in to the flank here. What I should have done is charged to bring more Treekin in. We had a little bit of a question about they can both reach. How do you make that move? But with all my attacks, my Treekin couldn't take out his vampire here. I probably should have just directed all of my attacks on the unit, but I thought that I'd be able to take it out absolutely wipe it out. And then here, I flank charge. This is after combat, but I flank charge in with my war dancers. Um, Absolutely just demolish everything. He doesn't challenge me. I absolutely demolish him, get him down to one model. I say, listen, you should have challenged me. We go back and do the challenge, and he survives with 4 models.